Welcome to Maker School. This is an optimized program to help you get your very first automation customer. I've consulted with something like 500 automation businesses over just the course of the last few months. So I've gotten to learn very well what makes a thriving automation business succeed and then what makes one that eventually fizzles out fail. What I've done is I've taken all that information. I've taken my own knowledge, my own learnings from consulting and coaching and that sort of thing, and I've compiled it into a day-by-day accountability program with a very simple list of steps that you need to do on a daily basis in order to acquire that first automation customer. And then in order to scale that up and acquire your second one and your third one and your fourth one, all the way up to 1 million, who knows? So this program is optimized. The reason why I've built this is because automation as an industry or automation as an opportunity is huge right now. I've heard it described as a gold rush on multiple occasions. Certainly the money that I've made on it has made me feel that way from time to time too. But if I could just strip away all of like the marketing buzzwords and bullshit, basically there's just a big transformation that's going to take place over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. Because AI and automation are now getting to the point where they become very valuable, most businesses out there that are still manual are going to make a big shift in the way that they do their business processes and the way that they acquire customers and that sort of thing. This shift is going to happen with or without us, but it's such a big opportunity that we might as well take a small slice of that pie. We're talking billions of dollars changing hands here, from country to country, from industry to industry. So, we might as well find a way to position ourselves in such a way where we can provide that transformation to businesses. We can be part of the reason why they're able to grow and automate and delegate a lot of their processes that used to be manual. So the issue is because it's such a short because this opportunity has only really been around for such a short period of time, and because automation as a business model is so new, there isn't really too much to know about it or to learn about it. And what typically happens when you have these unfleshed out business models, like what I did when I started with automation, is there were 1,000,001 things that I tried, and 1,000,000 of them didn't freaking work. I only found one that did. But I still had to spend all my own time, all my energy, and all my money exploring all those freaking dead ends, getting bummed out, losing tons of money, losing tons of energy. Basically, I had no roadmap. I had no path. And what typically happens, and what I've seen of a lot of these 500 businesses that I've consulted with, is they will start automation and then they'll just go down a bunch of these dens, and then several months will go by and they still haven't acquired their first customer. And then because they don't have any positive feedback, because they haven't made any money, because they just don't have any way of knowing what they're doing is working, they'll eventually fizzle out and they'll eventually quit. I don't want that to be you, because this is a massive economic opportunity. And so what this program does is it lays out an extremely straight line path from start to finish to getting that first automation customer. I've made it super highly specific just for automation. This isn't for any business model. This is just for ours. And several hundred people have followed this today to make amounts from $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 or more. So if you follow all of these steps, just as I've laid them out, you will get your first customer. And then you can just repeat that same process, get your second, third, fourth, fifth, and as I said, 1,000,000th. Now, a big question that's already come up a couple times is, hey, Nick, what about this thing that I read about on the internet? Why isn't that part of the program? Well, the reason why is because if I don't think that it is required for you to get your first automation customer, I didn't include it. This program is long, it's difficult, and it requires daily action. One of the core tenets is in the first month, you're not going to have a single day off. So to give you the best chance of making it, what I've done is I've taken all of the possible things that you can do for your automation business, and then I've selected the highest ROI part. And then I went through that process 2 or 3 more times. So I took the 80-20, the 80-20, the 80-20. And what we have left here is nothing but value. It's super high leverage, where every minute that you spend on this business is basically going to squeeze out as high an ROI as possible. So if I think that it's required in order to get your first customer, if I think that it's a high ROI way to spend your admittedly limited time, then I will have included it. And then if I don't, then I will not have included it. And I'm not saying that you can't do all of this other stuff that maybe you've read about on the internet. Feel free to. But I'm saying that I'm not going to include it as part of this core program because I personally don't find it necessary. So everything you need to acquire your first customer within this program. I will walk you through the process day by day. The vast majority of these modules, and there are going to be over, I think, 90 of them in your first month alone, are going to have videos associated with them. And that's going to force you to both internalize what I'm saying and the process and the mindset of a successful automation business. And I'm also going to hold you accountable, sort of like as your virtual coach. So you don't need any of the techniques or strategies you read anywhere else to get your first customer. All you need is everything that is in this course, plus some self-belief, and plus, I'll be honest, a fair amount of work. The reason why I did all this is because more knowledge will not help most of you. The biggest problem in coaching and consulting I'm finding is not necessarily the knowledge. You have the knowledge. You probably already know 99% of what you need in order to succeed. The issue is implementation. It's accountability. It's identifying those things and just doing them over and over and over again. So that's really what the point of this program is, and that's what I put it together for. The reality is you probably know too much, and all that extra information is starting to bog down your head and get a little bit noisy and kind of ruin you. When you know way too much shit, it interferes with your ability to find like the really important top 2 or 3 things and then just do those a lot. So what I'm going to do in this program is just focus on that 80/20. All right, the last thing I'm going to mention before I sign off here is that I laid this program out very intentionally. I didn't lay this out in terms of steps. I laid this out in terms of days. What that means is it's like a 300 step program. It's like a certain number of days. So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. The reason why I laid it out like this is because, one, there are a few processes that you need to physically wait a certain amount of time in order before you can do them. So, day 1, you might do something and then you have to wait 4 days in order to do the second part of it. So day 1 and then day 4, right? But second, because the highest ROI thing that I've found personally for myself in business, and I made over $100,000 last month, is to show up every single day for a very long period of time. Even if you show up every day and then all you do is 5 or 10 minutes or something like that, that's enough. You just have to literally show up. You just have to make a consistent effort for a long enough period of time. That's why there are no breaks in the first month. And that's why I believe really strongly in these days as opposed to, laying it out in steps or something. However, there's a caveat here, and that's that because I laid everything out in terms of days and not in terms of steps, you have the ability to jump ahead. Now, I don't want you to. I don't want you to cheat. If you follow my program the way that I've laid it out, you will inevitably get your first automation customer, and you're going to learn more, you're going to do more in that first month than the vast majority of people will ever do in this business model in a year. That's how high leverage this is, but you have to trust the process. You can't jump ahead to day 15 if you're on your first day. The first day that you show up, I want you to do day 1. The second day, I want you to do day 2. The third day, I want you to do day 3, and so on and so on and so forth. And I understand that, life can come up from time to time. There's certain things that are outside of your control. That's okay. But the point I'm making is I don't skip ahead. Don't do day 5 before you do day 4. Don't do day 49 before you do day 45, because I've laid all of these steps out in such a way that they make sense and they all add on to each other, assuming that you do them in the order that I've put together. All right, that is the very first module. The next one is going to be one on limiting beliefs, and I will see you in a second.